What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Derek.
And I'm Kevin.
And together we're last week's album. We're bringing you the only reviews with two different views. And this week we're talking about Light Upon the Lake by Whitney. And we're asked a big question: will Whitney's alt-country Light Upon the Lake light up your ears? Cheers, Kevin. Everyone at home.
Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
So Whitney is a band formed recently by two members that were formerly in the Smith Westerns, drummer and guitar player. They had a mutual interest in writing and recording spacey alt-country indie rock, if you will. And so this is their full-length debut, highly anticipated, released by Secretly Canadian. And without further ado, let's talk about what it sounds like. Kevin, what'd you think?
Sure, Derek. I thought this album sounds like the band Bon Iver and Unknown Mortal Orchestra steal a canoe for a midnight paddle across the water.
I think Whitney sounds like Jeff Tweedy and Wilco team up with Fleet Foxes and Dawes to record a weird follow-up to Uncle Tupelo's influential album No Depression, but this one's called No, Depression.
I like that.
Let's talk about some highlights. Kevin, what'd you think?
Sure. My first highlight is sort of their vibe, which I'm calling smooth unrest. And I think they really nail this vibe. It's got this mellow, retro, AM feel. In particular, I think you hear it best on tracks like No Woman, Golden Days, and Follow. They sort of always seem to be longing for answers or for a lover or searching for things like that. And despite that, it's still very mellow. It's not like a ton of angst, but there's a little bit of tension going on, just enough to keep it interesting.
Yeah, I definitely like that overall vibe as well. Just on No Woman, I thought it sounded like the Eagles meets Father John Misty, which I think completely reflects, what were you calling it earlier?
Smooth unrest.
Completely reflects smooth unrest. One highlight for me was just kind of the strong instrumental and vocal melodies, and they often really seem to complement each other very well. How everything was very well structured. I just think it all blended together very well.
Yeah, I thought the melodies were great. In particular, I thought the horns were really great on this album. They're infused very sort of fittingly and gracefully. They're not on every track, and they're usually not front and center, except for maybe the instrumental track Red Moon. Usually they just kind of come and go on The Falls, On My Own, Polly. I think they add a brightness to the album that's pretty necessary, keeps it light.
So let's talk about some lowlights. Kevin, what'd you think?
The first lowlight for me would be the lyrics. I thought, a lot of times they're about the same thing. Seemed to be a lot of longing for a lover and things like that. So there wasn't a ton of variety lyrically. And then vocally, I thought the vocals are pretty one-dimensional. I like them. I think it fits this band really well, but it also gets a little monotonous. It's this constant falsetto, and there's not a ton of range or dynamics going on. They kind of let some of the songs bleed together, or they would even more so if it weren't for the way the music keeps things really dynamic from track to track.
I had a very similar lowlight. I just kind of thought the lyrical themes seemed a little thin just in the lack of variety. Lost love, failed relationships, it became a little too much at times. So let's talk about the overall rating and answering the big question: will Whitney's alt-country Light Upon the Lake light up your ears? Kevin, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I think this will definitely light up your ears. I think these guys have a pretty unique sound. It's very nuanced and subtle and sort of instantly recognizable. I think if you heard these guys, you'd go, oh, that's Whitney. I know their sound. Like I mentioned earlier, the smooth unrest and that sort of tension they put in the album is definitely one of the highlights for me, and I think that's true to their overall sound. I thought the musicianship is top notch. They even have an instrumental track on here, which is brave, but very well done. And they paint with a lot of sounds, especially instrumentally, and I thought they pulled them off and gelled them together really, really well. And I think this is a great record for sort of a long drive or a chill night at home. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5.
Nice. I think we're going to agree on the most part here. To answer the big question, I think absolutely Light Upon the Lake will light up your ears for a lot of the same reasons. The strong vocal and instrumental melodies made for fantastic mood music, I thought, or moody music. I totally agree with you. The recognizable sound is great strength for them right now. I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5 as well, so that's combined 6 out of 10. So go check out Light Upon the Lake by Whitney. Thanks again for joining us here at last week's album. We're bringing you the only reviews with 2 different views. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast or here at the YouTube. And don't forget to tell us what you think. And as always, I'm Derek.
And I'm Kevin.
Cheers, guys.